The sweet release of liquid death. Well, it's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side and told me, what, I don't know the lyrics, but Donald Trump, most of you, I think, if I know my YouTube well, went to your locations and you voted for Donald Trump. And because he won the Electoral College, but also the popular vote, looks like there's not a lot of pushback against him. I had prophesized beforehand that Joe Biden would be called upon to do the right thing, and now we have a former Harris operative secretary guy, some dude on CNN just the other night, saying that Joe Biden said he'd be a transitional president. Well, here's his chance to transition. No, not the surgery kind, more of the I'm going down so that there will be a female president, and that would diminish the office in a way. It would be like, oh, being president's really just a figurehead thing. Just we got to do something to make history. We're gonna Bronny James Kamala if he did that. I don't think that the Bidens like the Harris clan very much. We saw Jill Biden dressed head to toe in red as she went to go vote, sending a message. It's not just I put on my favorite red coat. It is, I guess who I'm voting for. I don't bitch over here. That's what the message was. We've got to vote, guys. Use the chat over here. I don't see any. I've got all messages on. You're welcome to send a message or whatever. So, want to kind of get into what I think of Trump's appointees of his. I need a haircut. I know. I either need a haircut or I need to grow it out and just go like Fabio. I decide. All right, so we have a few things filling in. I think there's Linda McMahon's something whatever. People are expecting Vince McMahon to get a pardon out of this in some capacity. Don't rule it out. Can Donald Trump effectively put him back in charge of WWE? I don't think so. But we've got this guy Tom Homan, a guy whose name almost sounds like home, and he is going to be in charge of what's it called? Border czar. I don't think it's Homeland Security with him. It's more like he was the ICE. That he led ICE, former lead of ICE, becomes Homeland Security chief, or well, no, border czar. A kind of like unofficial thing where it's like you have to get approved by Congress because border czar is not a real job in a way. It's not Secretary of State. So there isn't any kind of thing where he has to get filled in. However, we do have good video of him breaking down his plan of attack. AOC, did you really? She thought she was going to get him on, oh, I'm going to expose this guy. He's over here and he's saying that he is totally into breaking up families. Yeah, I'll get him with that. So you want to break families? And it's like, nope. Can you say happy birthday to my Geo? I don't know what a Geo is. Way to go. Happy birthday. It says you're Mac. So is this a vintage video game thing? Geo, I played Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, if that counts. Got over 1 million points in one life for the achievement. Anyway, AOC thought she was going to. It's like, no, you don't have to break up families. The whole family can get deported, the anchor babies included. As one of Donald Trump's promises in Project 47, Agenda 47, is to do away with the birthright citizenship stuff. So then, under those grounds, how would we then determine an American citizen or not? Are we going to go the Starship Troopers way? You got to serve in order to citizen. If that were the case, I'd actually be kind of cool with it. Like, oh, hey, you have a military background, you get to vote. If you don't, screw you. I think that would actually be pretty interesting right there. We'd certainly have a huge shift in how the election is marketed, right? Because right now we have found out that Kamala Harris in 3.5 months made a war chest $1 billion and blew it. blew it to the point in which she's reportedly 20 million in debt on her campaign. We see rumors, and I don't know how well we can substantiate much of this. Rumors that people are going to throw around, Oprah Winfrey was paid $1 million to host the town hall. Not exactly true. Now, there is a production aspect. They built a set, they had some stars show up. It felt like a weak Oprah show. Like, okay, we're coming back, we're getting the gang back together, we're going to do one special episode for the black girl. And that's what they did. Now, you hire union people to run the show. Was this a live thing or was it live to tape? Either way, you can't expect all these people to do stuff for free. Does Oprah make enough or has enough money to have been able to just be like, you know what? Okay, on me. I'll host it. I don't have to pay. You don't have to pay me anything to host. I'll pay the staff. Okay. I'll, whatever. Hell, we pay down to the PAs. The people have the means to spend, if you're going to lecture people and tell us who to vote for, and then you have to get paid to tell us what your thoughts are on it, pretty weak shit, isn't it? Like, imagine you only have a YouTube channel because you were paid beforehand to start the YouTube channel, right? That's the Oprah philosophy. You then have to wonder how much a variety of these people are paid. I recall seeing of, black guy, NFL player, had a show on F. Now he's a YouTuber. And I know that sounds like a lot of guys. Happy birthday, Gio. Okay, so you want more people to say happy birthday, Gio. Okay, I guess we can handle that. I don't even think Mac's here anymore, so I don't think Gio saw this. Or is Gio like a hippo and a pygmy hippo in a Thailand zoo that I don't know about? Like, who's Gio? Okay, Marcellus Wiley. That's what I'm talking about. He had gotten an email, and we don't know if you can really say much of this is completely official. Why is this light off? I thought I had juice in this. You gotta be shitting me. Thing ran out of... Not that you really see stream, right? Okay, Marcellus Wiley, I'm assuming it actually came from the Harris Walls campaign, saying, hey, we'll give you $25,000 for a post online about this. If you come to the DNC, we will give you $100,000. We want influencers and celebrities to do stuff. Now, you really get an idea of how corrupt all this shit is. I've been told beforehand that all this election stuff is a bunch of garbage, in part because it's about keeping the grease on the wheels. You got to keep the machine rolling. We're using all this money we're picking up, and that's going to be the way we wash the bribe money. How is her campaign getting $1 billion in 3.5 months and ending up 20 million in debt? You love polls. I love how wrong they are. Oh yeah, polling. I think that the biggest takeaway here is that selection, everyone is going to go by the poly market. They're going to say, screw the polls, man. Let's look at how people are betting with their hard-earned cash. And that will be the way we determine who's in the lead. Personally, I do not like the concept of betting on the election. It is like if football players were on a game and all of us who can vote are playing that game while betting on it. It seems like there's ways people might actually vote just so that they can make money rather than a weird, obscure Jill Stein president. If we finagled the voting in a way to make somebody crazy rich that, picked her and all that stuff. Yeah, Pauly was in the news big time. It would have been a great time to invest in Poly Market, right? It's like they were, and there was a few others. Hashi, right? I think there were a few. Poly Market was the one that was really getting talked up, but it came in like, gosh, what's that thing that was like ubiquitous during lockdown, but no one used it since, and I hadn't even heard of it then, like that. What was it? It was like Skype. not Microsoft Teams, not Skype. Anyway, it was just like this thing that all of a sudden everybody about. I think it's kind of jacked up. I don't really like the concept of betting on this stuff. Are they in Polymarket? Can you assassination attempt? Can you bet on it failing, and then that means you're not in on it? Like how does this work exactly? Like you're betting on events that haven't happened yet. Here's something. If look, you're not supposed to give out investments advice, but we know Elon Musk is big time Doge supporter, right? He may even have the clout here to get the Doge Department of or efficiency with Donald Trump, and kind of operate that from our appoint somebody as a VP of it that actually runs it. What something like that, but. Eric saying Trump is all over the news. He was anyway, but now more so, yeah. Elon being a huge fan of Doge seems to, it's another opportunity for Dogecoin to the moon, right? And as such, it was flown 6 to 8 cents for, a while. And then it hopped up. I saw it was like 23 cents over the weekend. It would behoove you, if you wanted to get in on the Doge, kind of get in on the dip. It will reach like Doge peak at election. So you want to be holding, selling, well, I'm saying inauguration. So around the point of inauguration, that will be the time to sell. If it went down to its before now and the inauguration, I would get in on that. That's me personally saying. I lost like all my viewers going, he's giving advice on Bitcoin. But I'm just saying, if you want some advice on that, there is reports that Elon he's set to make so much from the government contracts. No shit. If your company launches shit into space and the U.S. government's kind of like, we're going to privatize this and spend less with the NASA, we're going to just pay SpaceX, Blue Origin, and the like to do the stuff for us, then yeah, those companies are going to reap for sure. Elon would do contracts with the U.S. government if Kamala won still, unless she really didn't want those. She was lecturing to go to the moon ever. Well, you guys are going to do so much stuff. Like, you're going to go to the moon. Like, you're going to live on Mars. Like, See people doing the Donald Trump dance when they sack the QB, when they get an interception, when they score a touchdown. It's pretty simple. It's almost like a weird double, inappropriate thing, and yet somehow that hasn't really been misconstrued as such. I hadn't watched Saturday Night Live, but there is some appeal to Saturday Night Live the first and after an election when they didn't get it right and America didn't vote the way we told them to, and how are we going to handle that? And Bill Burr. All right, let me get through my Bill Burr speech here. I watched, and these were the clips posted on X. Okay, I watched the cold opening, right? Where, hey, we're mates, and we're also making fun of the new guys. I'm like, bitch, I don't even know who the hell you guys are. I read the black guy, and Mr. Scarlett Johansson. They had a thing where they were saying, Mr. Trump, don't go against us. We were all time. That was not half bad. We want to act like the show was never funny. The show hadn't been funny since Eddie Murphy. Whatever. That's kind of the weird attack plan with the comedy, is to be like, the show, it was never funny, because it's like, okay, if you disagree with them, you can feel that way. But does it sound that legitimate? I thought it was a pretty decent sketch. 69-year-old Dana Carvey comes out there as Elon Musk. It sounds a little bit like doing the Hans and Franz voice, if you ask me. But then Bill Burr does his monologue. And people are like, oh, he's so mid. He bombed. And that is entirely because his biatch wife, the lovely Nia, my wife, I actually haven't listened to his past. It was the first podcast I listened to, and I listened to it for over 10 years. And I just got out of it several months. I probably stopped listening to it sometime in earlier. And it wasn't because I was like disagreeing with his politics or something. He's largely politically neutral. He didn't really like to get in that. Once you go down that path, and you're talking for claps, the laughter rather than the laughter. But his wife, such a bitch. I've heard her say things where she's afraid to leave the cities because she thinks white people are going to let her as soon as she goes into Missouri or some shit. And she talks down to people. Oh, you look like you're from the Midwest and flyover country and all this shit. Look, governor of Kansas, and I am going to build a wall, an invisible head. Like it'll be like Texas to North Dakota. If you want to fly from Los Angeles to New York because you're a cultural shit elitist, you're going to pay to fly over flyover country. The flyover tax, you're going to use our airspace and be a dick about it. Fine. Well, then we need to get rich off of your ass. If you want to play that game, because damn sure we don't need to go to New York and watch Wicked on Broadway. So yeah, anyway, I actually thought he did a pretty good job with his monologue. And I know that the cool thing to say is, it was so mid. He was no Dave Chappelle. You know what? The audience that he has live at Saturday Night Live, who do you think they voted for? If he really went hard at Kamala, do you think that would have been allowed to hit the airwaves over on NBC? I think the audience would have not booed his ass. So he did about as good as he could given the circumstances. Some crowds are tough, kind of like wonder, is this the right plan of attack in this scenario, right? And I think he did fine. Pointed out how Donald Trump's beaten two. Could have even thrown in the now tired line of Trump's beaten more women than Kamala's husband, whatever his name. So yeah, that's what I know. And I also know this. I was talking about all this shit. Let me read what you guys wrote here. Kawan calendar. Yeah, my understanding about it is Elon Musk kind of, but getting benefit from Trump with Biden, he would never get more. I don't know. Billboard is terribly unfunny. Billboard? Bill Burr. Oh, okay. No, I like him quite a bit. Him, Bill Cosby, Jim Gaffigan, and Ellen DeGeneres are really kind of like my comedy inspirations of sorts. Other people, I don't really feel like I have much to learn from, if that makes sense. I think what it is that you have to be into socialism to really get what's going on Saturday. My life is funny. Genius bit. Which one's the genius bit here? So my thinking is, one, deal with that whore podcast that Kamala decided to go on because she's like, oh, Donald Trump's going to get all this play over going on the podcast. I need to go on a podcast too. Set me up with that call her. I don't understand the title. She's misbehaving and you should call her daddy to come pick her up from school. Like, what is this? So it's a girl talking about whoring it out. And this seems to be now where all the bitches on YouTube get their podcast and they talk about being whores. I saw this girl, Valkyrie, was like, I bust inside me and I said I was switching my breath control. So I pushed him off me and I said, you're taking me to CVS. And it's like, okay, yeah, that will get views. Christ. Your favorite comedians? Yeah, I think that I put together a pretty good list there. If you haven't seen Bill Cosby live, and I saw Bill Cosby in 2004, and he killed like you just simply not believe. Killed. I mean, look, people were literally falling out of their chair, rolling on the floor like they had a seizure. I kid you not. All Republican policy is based in sexual insecurity. I feel this in my bones. Being serious on the comedians thing? Yeah, definitely. So, Kamala had that whore podcast, right? And she met her at a hotel because, well, we're too busy to go to where you film. We won't do the whole show, right? She did try to pull this shit with, and built a set at $100,000 in a hotel room, which I would think the hotel could have some issue with this, right? But evidently, I don't know. Big enough hotel room, false walls, I don't know. But at any rate, you're not supposed to realize that they're building this stuff, like these mock-up things, for Kamala. But money to be put in that. At $100,000, probably not. Feel like part of that $100,000 is probably about paying that whore, the Call Her Daddy chick. Who was she famous for this? Because generally in podcasting, you kind of have to be famous, and then people check out your podcast. That's typically the way it goes for 80% of the hit podcasts. It's somebody was established somewhere, and then you realize they had a podcast. I came across Bill Burr's podcast around the time I discovered his stand-up, or so. Maybe sometime after, actually, but it was very much on the early side of the podcast. So he started, I think, 2007 or something, when you would be listening to a podcast on an iPod, in all likelihood. Yeah, Ellen, dude, vintage. Look, there is a through line here with the comedy. If you're trying to impress girls, that it works. And if you look at who the female comics were in the 90s, it is like way better than today. As the female comics in the 90s, they were the ones who had to fight to get on stage, not literally, but maybe in some cases, but they were not being approved to be on stage. Now all you have is a bunch of who they thought they were going to be a famous actress, and it turned out they weren't. But some agent still wants to get in their pants and says, "No, you're funny. You should be on stage." And now you just look at what they do in LA. Look at the bitches that are touring and shit. They're just like washed up actresses that will tell you stories that are all almost the same thing. And maybe for a part, and then I got a cappuccino, and then the guy dumped me, but I dumped. And it's just they all want to be actresses, and now they're comics, and it's horrible. Look, I haven't seen every female comic that's on the scene right now, but I can't think of many that are halfway decent. So yeah, Ellen for sure, definitely an inspiration. Look at her stuff in like the 80s and 90s, and there's like a cadence to the way she talks, and some stand-up comedy works based on not what you say but how you say it. And somebody like Martin Lawrence, for example, definitely long ways in the delivery. I feel like with Kevin Hart, it's too try hard. The way he talks is disingenuous. So that's my thoughts on that. I mean, it's a fun podcast. Why call her a whore? Why are all men whores to you who hurt you? Oh, we're not even going to get into that. That bitch. Jeez. How are we doing on our polls? Do we like polls? Some of you like polls. Oh man, it'll be great if next election we just decide that the polls truly are irrelevant. We got that douche with his keys to victory. And then it's like this person there's all these keys, and you didn't start a war as the incumbent, and that gives you a key to victory. And now he's wrong for the first time, and he's not years of doing it. It's not even all that many elections that he already had lost one, and he's going to be some expert that they're going to push around. This keys to victory douche is like that, evil pastor who hoards all the money and tells you the end of the world's coming in a week, and then they have to put him on TV because that'll get him attention. Which, when was the last time we had that guy? I kind of miss that. The end of the world's coming, and then everybody's like, well, let's see. Nope, it's November 14th. Not yet. What happened to those guys? Okay, yeah, but you're just here. Sorry about that, buddy. All right, Shmuel Hoyt. can't really tell what that picture is. It looks like something from an SNK fighting game, but I can't really tell. Blind guy, you got sunglasses? I don't know. Right. So we're about 30 minutes in. I kind of just wanted this to be a little short thing, in part because, well, I just felt too lazy to video today. I've got anime to review. I've got shit that I've watched lately. I had to buy a movie that isn't available anywhere outside France, so I had to buy that, and I'll be getting that in time. I had a I was gonna do on RoboCop, something about my hair shampoo, and shit. I guess we'll still do a live stream Friday, but some crazy shit's gonna have to go down in the news for me to talk about. So you guys come ready Friday with your questions and the like, and we'll what goes down there. But I might actually fire up ye old Netflix and do a commentary track for Bad Boys Ride or Die in a minute here. A few thoughts do that. As we get further away from the bayness of a Bad Boys film, it is like how I kind of thought, what's the point of not having Michael Bay? It becomes very apparent. In this film, it is hard to distinguish from the previous film. They just look so much alike. The content is just, despite continuing to make money, it's like restrained. Like, we don't even have a car chase in this one. It's very weird. It's called Ride, right? And we don't have a car chase, right? So yeah, I guess I'm gonna be doing that in a minute. All right. Well, if you made it this far, no, I'm not gonna get the smoke out. And let's not do the wait until marriage counseling thing. They're listening anyway. Well, yeah, sign up for a membership, channel membership, and let's stay misinformed together. I'll unceremoniously hit the X button up here and